the Dubai Autodrome to go to battle. And it's going to be a fabulous race weekend for sure as we quest for more glory. Jake Sanson here with you in the commentary box overlooking the Dubai Autodrome circuit. And my goodness me, are we in for another thrill fest. More drivers have stepped up to the plate to challenge the established guard. And on this fabulous race circuit, we're going to see more great battles. It's the same configuration that we used for round one, and there'll be 3 races over the course of the weekend. The man who has bit first blood, though, over the course of qualifying is the Tiger. Tuukka Tappinen came through in time qualifying this morning to bag the pole position, not only for race 1, but also for race 3 tomorrow as well. In the current form he's in, if he sets the fastest lap in this first race, then he'll grab all 3 pole positions over the weekend. The Finn is here to challenge, and he's got 3 drivers to catch in the point standings, of course. The championship leader, Yugo Chukwu, who is 11 ahead of the Australian James Wharton, and the consistent Valerio Rinicella is 3rd in the standings. Let's look back over what happened last time we raced in Kuwait Motor Town. A sensational battle ensued on the new race circuit in Kuwait Motor Town, the latest Middle Eastern battleground. And it really has been a sensational place to go racing. In the first race, we had a bit of a sandstorm over the circuit, and the battle began in earnest between Yugo Chukwu and James Wharton. Tuukka Tappinen was the man on the move, making his way past Arvid Lindblad. Sadly, Zachary David couldn't do the same, and the 2 drivers collided. But every team had its turn at the front, everyone having a very mixed weekend. Zachary David would not repeat his victory from race 3 in Kuwait in the previous meeting. Yugo Chukwu led and commanded at the front, doing a fine job to the flag. So after a victory for the American star, there would be another race on a very different plane of the sunshine and the clear skies for race 2. And this time it was Mumbai Falcons that led by example. James Wharton and Tuukka Tappinen deciding how things would play out. Spins in the back of the field as drivers were trying to find a little bit more grip on the circuit. And there was a big incident mid-race as Jesse Kadashkado had to take avoiding action from a wayward Hayato Iwasaki. And then there were battles through the field as Tuukka Tappinen made his bid on James Wharton to cut through and take the position away. Yugo Chukwu couldn't hang on to second place as both Wharton and Rinicella made their mark on the American, and Tuukka the Tiger came through to win his first race in fantastic style. And with the fans hoping it would be the first of many, we went into race 3. Rinicella falling off the tail of the leading trio in the hope that he could still salvage a decent result. What he didn't know was that the battle was about to ignite between Tappinen and Yugo Chukwu. The 2 drivers collided, leaving James Wharton out on his own to slice the championship gap. Rinicella cut through into second place, but James Wharton dominated the final race and bagged 25 very valuable points to get in right in behind Yugo Chukwu in the title fight. So as we have just 6 races remaining in the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship, Yugo Chukwu is just 11 points ahead of James Wharton. Rinicella and Tappinen are not far away. A great quantity of drivers have now scored points in the championship, but there are still 6 races to go for more drivers to add their name to the tally for the 2023 campaign. In the Rookie Cup, Tappinen has an advantage over Arvid Lindblad and Zachary David, with Keanu Alazadi not far away. And in the team's rankings on round 4 out of 5, it is Mumbai Falcons who have almost double the points of Prema, who are just 1 point ahead of MP Motorsport. So back we come to the Dubai Autodrome as the drivers are gearing up ready for an exciting showcase here. And obviously there's been a few changes to the lineup as we tend to find from one round to the next. There are a few shuffles of the deck. Rishon Rajiv is still in the Mumbai Falcons number 28, having replaced Mohammed Ibrahim. But over the course of this weekend, we'll find out which of those 2 drivers is going to be in the car for round 5 in Abu Dhabi in a week's time. Also, we say sadly goodbye to Jacob Bergmeister, who returns to Europe for the PHM Racing team. He is replaced by the Thai superstar Nandavud Bidambakdi, so he will take over the car. Fernando Barrichello of Brazil is back for Carlin, as he now returns to the Rodin Carlin team as teammate to Dion Gouda, who has been here since the start of the season. Emilie de Vos has now returned to Europe to start her campaign as well for the summer running of the season, and that means that the Uzbekistani driver Ismail Ahmed has now crept into the team number 60, and Pedro Claro has taken the number 62 car over from Kiddo Smal, who abandoned it at race 1. There was no replacement in the car for Kuwait Motor Town. Hio Yamakoshi, who was in the car at Pinnacle last time out in Kuwait, he has now left the car and he has given it back to the Italian Brando Badua, who returns to the F4 UAE Championship and is definitely a driver to watch over the course of today's battle and action. It really is going to be sensational, and we're going to see a really exciting battle progressing here on the circuit. There is the Yas Heat Racing Academy driver Kiano Al-Azari, part of this Abu Dhabi government-backed program to give young talent with the United Arab Emirates license the chance to step up from the world of esports and karting into the Formula 4 fraternity. This is a big moment for the team and a big moment for the government of the United Arab Emirates as well, to fund drivers in their race program. And Kiano Al-Azari is their lead driver this weekend, who has already put a fantastic performance together. 4th position on the grid for race 1 and 2nd on the grid on the front row for race 3. But let's not count out the efforts of his teammates either. Matteo Quintarelli and Hamza Al-Kubaisi, both representing the United Arab Emirates here in the Nations Championship as well. And hopefully it's the first of many times that we'll see the Yas Heat Academy work their way forward. We just saw a brief glimpse there of Valentin Klus, the German, who has had some flashes of brilliance over the course of the season so far. And there is Noah Stromsted, who has obviously put in some good performances as well for the PHM racing outfit. Really good to see them in fine performances over the course of the last few races. We are a little bit delayed in the schedule, unfortunately. That is due to one of the previous sessions being delayed due to an accident, and barrier repairs had to be carried out. There is Dion Gouda in the Rodin Carlin, the new name for that team. And the competitors now making their way. Great to welcome back Brando Badua to the F4 UAE Championship. He missed the rounds in Kuwait Motor Town, unfortunately, as he had other commitments, but it's great to see him back. And Brando Badua obviously wanting to make his impression very early in the race weekend here and wanting to showcase that he still has the speed to mix it at the front end of the field. It's been a very exciting battle so far for the contenders in the F4 UAE Championship here this weekend. Qualifying 1 saw Tuka Tarpanen get the pole position time in front of James Wharton and Arvid Lindblad. Kiano Al-Azari in 4th position in front of James Bazik and the man we just saw, Brando Badua. And then Nicola Lacorte in 7th position. A good run from the Prema driver ahead of Will McIntyre for the High-Tech Grand Prix team. There is Arvid Lindblad lining up in his 3rd position on the starting grid. The team captained, of course, by Oliver Oakes, who is watching this young charge go from the world of karting to cars, something, of course, that Oliver Oakes did himself years gone by. But there is the Tiger, Tuukka Tarpanen, the man everybody in Finland expects to be the next Mika Hakkinen, the next Kimi Räikkönen. He is already putting on a fantastic show, and in 2023 he is part of the Ferrari Racing Driver Academy. They have clearly spotted something sensational in this boy, which us in the motor racing world and certainly in the karting fraternity knew way back in 2019 when this fresh-faced young Finn arrived in Angeville. Nobody knew who he was, nobody had even heard of him. He came into the OK Junior European Championship season opener and stretched away. That day we knew this kid was something special. It's great to see that the car racing fraternity knows it now as well. There's James Wharton, his teammate, just 11 points behind Yuga Chukwu in the championship fight. Where is the American, I hear you cry? 9th position on the starting grid for race 1. He's got it all to do. Qualifying has not gone well for the American so far. He looks like he's going to lose a great chunk of points to his Australian rival. But this man, Tuukka Tarpanen, wants to catch them. He's currently 4th in the championship standings, leading the rookie points. But he really wants to give this opportunity every ounce of strength and speed he's got. The 2 Mumbai Falcons cars lining up on the front row of the grid then. Arvid Lindblad back where he belongs in the top 3. Al-Azari doing a grand job in 4th position. The quote from that camp is, "There's no rush," but it's great to see Kiano right up at the front, representing his nation here in 4th position on the grid. James Bazik in P5. Brando Badua in P6, then Nicola Lacorte and Will McIntyre from Yuga Chukwu and Valerio Rinicella leading and 3rd in the point standings, way back on the 5th row of the starting grid. The fans are starting to flock to see these cars in position, and there are 40 drivers in position on the starting grid. Feline Wang has found the pole position man, Tuukka Tarpanen.
Tuka, you are fast in both qualifying sections. And can you close the gap with the leaders this weekend?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the maximum points from this weekend, and I think we have a really good car to do it.
Cool. 那他呢是也希望呢，我刚才问到图卡呢，因为他在2节的排位赛当中呢，都拿到了最快单圈呢，他也是提到呢，他希望呢在这个比赛周当中能以一个好的表现来和前面的在整个的排位当中能拿到好的位置。Back to you guys.
Thanks, Feline, and great to hear from Tuka Tarpanen. He has one objective this weekend: grab as many points from these 3 races over the weekend. It's not over for him in this championship fight. He's looking good in the rookie title fight at the moment, but he has bigger fish to fry as far as he's concerned. 40 cars on the grid alongside Will McIntyre, and then we have Yugo Chukwu and Valerio Rinicella. On the 6th row is Dion Gowder and Kanato Lee. Then Pedro Claro, the new boy, coming into the MP Motorsport team alongside Zachary David, the Brazilian driver. Then Pedro Claro doing a very strong job in qualifying. But there's Valerio Rinicella down in 10th position on the grid. Definitely not where he was hoping to be. And we have Federico Rifai and Valentin Klus on the 8th row of the grid. Hamda Al-Kubaisi is alongside the Mexican Jessica Esquedo, who had a very strong run in qualifying in Kuwait, has really struggled here in Dubai. There is Dion Gowder in the Rodin Carlin, 11th position on the starting grid for him, with the Indian flag there present on the halo, although he has Singaporean roots as well. Fernando Barrichello lines up alongside Lena Bueller, who's only just recently announced her appointment in the F1 Academy, which begins this year. Noah Lyle is alongside Akshay Bora on the 11th row of the grid. Noah Stromsted is beside Jack Beaton. Then Nandovad Benombakti alongside Matteo Quintarelli, Alex Borjuev and Rafael Narak. Bianca Bustamante, who's also going to be joining the F1 Academy with Prema later this year. Luciana Morano alongside her on the grid. Alexa Kasaba and Kai Darianani, much improved for the Indian talent. Sebastian Murray alongside his teammate Flavio Olivieri, the Cram competition team really struggling to get that car up to 1-lap pace. Then Georgi Zharavsky alongside Rishon Rajiv, and the final 4, Victoria Blokina, Theo Jensen, Ismail Ahmed, and the man who has to go to the very back of the grid after difficulties in qualifying, Teofil Nile, who will not be staying down in 40th position for long. Watch him charge his way through. This man is the championship leader though, Yugo Chukwu from New York State in the United States. This is a very tough mission for him now, trying to alleviate some of the damage that's already been done from time qualifying. If he stays in 9th position, then he's only going to score 2 points from this race. If James Wharton stays where he is, he's going to score 18 and will take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. That's how crucial it is for Yugo Chukwu to not only give it the best he's got, but to get back up the order. He needs to take some names out there on the circuit and get his way up through the field. There are only 6 races to go, and a blip like this at this time is the worst possible tonic to his title campaign. So he definitely needs something from this race, but he's got every opportunity to do so, and he'll definitely showcase his flair, that's for sure. So the drivers now just allowing that little bit of race preparation to come in. All of the mechanics are clearing the grid now, and obviously they'll have the one rolling lap, the formation lap, before we can get underway once again. Great to have your company once again on the stream. If you're watching along on the YouTube stream, it'll be absolutely very much appreciated, and very welcome to have some of your comments, and so it's going to be really exciting to see how things progress going into this first race of the weekend. So the competition is going to be a really interesting one. 3-minute board goes up here at the Dubai Autodrome, and these guys are now ready for an exciting showcase ahead of us as we prepare for the great battle ahead. So obviously Yugo Chukwu qualified in 9th position, but he will actually start the race from P12, and that is due to the fact that he carries a penalty from the incident that he had with Tuka Tarpanen in race 3 at Kuwait Motortown last time out. So qualifying 9th was not where he wanted to be. He'll actually have to start the race from P12 based on the fact that he carries a 3-place grid penalty. At the time, the likes of James Wharton and Tuka Tarpanen were probably feeling, well, a 3-place grid penalty isn't all that much. Now that he's down in 12th position on the starting grid, they're probably thinking, well, actually, that's perfect. He's out of the points. It gives us a chance to work his way forward. So the final mechanics are on the grid there with the umbrellas, and they need them there because it is ultra hot down there on the starting grid. It's very different to what it was in the first round even of the championship a few weeks ago. The temperatures have skyrocketed, and it's a very different ball game now compared to what it was a little earlier on in the year. But the second visit to Dubai Autodrome definitely gives us a lot to talk about, a lot to unpick. And so we're going to have a really exciting challenge. Noah Stromsted there in the pit lane. So that's not good. Noah Stromsted then is going to have to start this race from the pits. And the Danish driver really wanted a stronger performance this time than he was allowed to have last time. And there is Yugo Ugachukwu starting as he is from P12 on the grid, on the outside of the 6th row. So not a good position for him to be in at all. But as you can see, Teofil Nal is lined up there at the very back of the grid in 40th position. Santeri Likkonen wants to know which side is pole. Well, it's the right side of your screen. The racing line, if you like, down the main straight is pole position. But Teofil Nal is down there at the back of the grid in 40th position. Before we arrived at the first round of the championship, Dubai Autodrome actually had to bring the starting grid further forward and paint more starting grid hatchings on the main straight to accommodate the fact that there are 40 cars in the F4 UAE Championship in 2023. The fans are in the stands. They're obviously here to enjoy all of the thrills and spills of great racing. What many of them may not know or realise is that some of these guys could end up being on the grid in Formula One someday. A really exciting challenge awaits us. And unpredictability is almost certain to be the buzzword. Can Tarpanen get himself a second win of the season? Can James Wharton take the lead of the championship? What can Yugo Ugachukwu do to fight back from P12 on the starting grid? So many things could happen here. Are we going to see a breakthrough victory for the likes of Kiana Malazari, James Pazik or Brando Badua? Time to find out. The formation lap begins. So as the drivers head around this Dubai Autodrome circuit, let's walk you through the grid. Driver by driver. Tuukka Tarpanen and James Wharton, the Tiger and the Aussie, on the front row of the starting grid for the Mumbai Falcons team. Arvid Lindblad, third position on the grid, back where he belongs, alongside Kiana Malazari, flying the flag for the United Arab Emirates. James Pazik in a brilliant fifth position alongside the returnee, Brando Badua. Will McIntyre and Nicola Lacorte for High-Tech and Prema on the fourth row of the grid. And rounding out the top 10, it is Valerio Rinicella, third in the standings, and Dion Gauda, right up in the top 10 hunt. Kanato Lee lines up 11th. Yugo Ugachukwu outside the points, the championship leader. What can he do from there? Pedro Claro for MP, and Zachary David, a winner in Q8, down in 14th. Federico Rafai lines up 15th on the grid. Valentin Klus alongside him. On the 9th row of the grid, Hamda Al-Kubaisi for the Yazid Racing Academy, alongside RHGP's Jesse Carrasquedo. Fernando Barrichello alongside Lena Bula, and that completes the halfway point of the grid. Noah Lyle is down in 21st, Akshay Bora alongside him, two drivers who'll want to make a comeback. Noah Stromsted and Jack Beaton, two great talents, unlucky in time qualifying. Nandavad Bedombakti makes his debut in 2023 alongside Matteo Quintarelli. Then Alex Borduev and Rafael Narak, two drivers who had a lot of bad luck in Q8. Then Bianca Bustamante, she scored her first points in race 3 last time. Luciano Morano was spinning. Alex Abkasava and Kai Darianani, two drivers making great progress. Then on the 17th row, Sebastian Murray and Flavio Olivieri, hoping to give the Crown Motorsport team something to smile about. Georgi Jadavsky alongside Rishon Rajiv, XL versus Mumbai Falcons. Then it's Victoria Blakina for R2 Race Carousel and Ismail Ahmed returning to the UAE. And then we have Teofil Nal and Theo Jensen lining up on the back row of the grid for Santalok. As you may have seen there as well, Noah Stromsted will have to be starting this race from the pit lane. Not exactly where he wanted to be either. So a very tricky situation for all of the contenders. But obviously with more cars on the starting grid than we have had all season long. A grand total of the maximum, 40. This is going to be a very tough race. It's a circuit that's notably difficult to make an overtake on, but not impossible. So now we're going to get to see a really interesting and intriguing battle in front of us as the contenders are now gearing themselves up ready for the start of the show. The first of 3 races this weekend. It may be slightly delayed thanks to the issues earlier on in the schedule, but there is no delay now. We are ready to race And we'll see if James Wharton can take the lead of the championship away from Yuga Chukwu. There he is, trying to file his way into position. But this is a tough mission now for the American. It's almost easy peasy for the Australian, but you've got to do the work. And of course, he's got a fired up and motivated teammate in Tucker Tarpanen, who, as we saw in Kuwait, is not frightened of going wheel to wheel with his teammate. Experience counts for nothing when you're dueling with the Tiger. So the competitors are making their way to the starting grid to get things ready for a battle. The Prema team in full United Arab Emirates mode, trying to keep cool. And the drivers now gearing themselves up for an excellent show. 23 minutes plus the additional lap. And that's what we're going to get in terms of an amazing spectacle and a great battle here on the Dubai Autodrome circuit. Last time out we saw a pair of victories for Yuga Chukwu and a win for Arvid Lindblad. Then we went to Kuwait and the title battle really stormed up to the surface. Now it's time for these last 6 races, 3 in Dubai and 3 in Abu Dhabi next week, to determine who is going to be the latest winner of the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship. This championship that was set up 7 years ago by the now FIA president, Mohammed bin Sulayem, and it has seen drivers from all over the world participate, not just from here in the United Arab Emirates. It has become the first truly international stepping stone of the motorsport season. Into the final positions go Thierry Villeneuve and Theo Jensen. And now we are ready to go racing. With the 2 Santalocks at the back of the grid, they won't stay there for long, but we are ready to race for the first time this weekend in the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship 2023 at the Dubai Autodrome. Tucker Tarpanen versus James Wharton, take 2. The lights are on, and when they go out, we'll race for the first time. Let's race again in Dubai. A good start from Tucker Tarpanen. He's already got a good launch over James Wharton. Wharton's going to have to slot in behind him. Lindblad gets a good launch. So too does James Bazik. He's actually drawn level with Al-Azhari. Brandon Badua trying to come alongside Al-Azhari to the first corner as well. And Badua's not just going to get Al-Azhari. He's going to get alongside Bazik. He drifts out. Bazik gets through. So Bazik has made the better start, and now Al-Azhari's going to get back on the inside of Badua. He's through, and so too is Will McIntyre. Brilliant start from Al-Azhari and McIntyre. They drift through. Badua now gets back on the inside of McIntyre and takes back the position. Watch out for Rinicella as well. He wants a piece of this as they run through on the far side. Great battles for position. They go through on the far side of the course, and now they climb up the crest on towards the back straight. This is where things are going to get very interesting, but it's perfect for Tucker Tarpanen. He leads in front of Wharton and Lindblad, and there's problems further back. That's one of the Mumbai Falcons. I would guess that is Rishon Rajiv, who has collected one of the Santalocks as off the road. Who is that? One of the XLs, trying to shake off his teammate by the look of it. As down to the hairpin we go. And dueling side by side, that is still Al-Azhari, having a great run around the outside to get back into 4th position past Pizzi. Great racing from Al-Azhari as the F4 drivers continue to work their way through on this first lap. But we've got an issue further back. It would not at all surprise me if we went to safety car. Yellow flags are waving. Indeed we do. Safety car boards are out. Safety car boards are out. So we are under safety car conditions. Well, that didn't last long, did it? And unfortunately, it's taken out at least 2 drivers. Well, that's one of the Santalocks. I can't make out which one it is because the wing has gone. But we are under safety car conditions here. Oh, and we see a replay of it. As further back, that is a very nasty one indeed. It looked to me like Rishon Rajiv was caught up in that one. Trying to make out who else was involved because that's definitely one of the Santalocks. I couldn't tell whether that was Thierry Villeneuve or whether that was Theo Jensen. Very hard to tell, unfortunately, but both drivers were trying to make a bit of a comeback through the course of the field. Not easy when you've got 2 blue Santalocks that look exactly the same, and both your drivers are called Theo. So on to the main straight come the leaders, and obviously it is very much about Tarpanen leading the way here. So Tarpanen enjoying himself out front and looking very stable and sturdy. Not entirely sure who that is that was involved in that one. I'm trying to pick it out as soon as possible. But there is the replay once again. 2 cars, same bit of racetrack, not enough room for 2. I think it is Theo Jensen. So Theo Jensen is the one in trouble. And I'm afraid he's out of the race. And the reason I know that is because Teofil Nile has come through after the first lap in 26th position. There he is, in fact, behind Bianca Bustamante and in front of Matteo Quintarelli. So you can see the abandoned cars of Rishan Rajiv and Theo Jensen. And unfortunately, Noah Stromsted was not able to get his car started from the pits. So they had more problems than first realised. Oh, a big lock up there for somebody trying to avoid one of the MP Motorsport cars. So that was a little bit of a mistake there for Georgi Żurawski. I think he was trying not to spear into the back of Ismail Ahmed. And he just needed to get on the brakes a little sooner. Well, there are the team from PHM Racing. They're going to try and send Noah Stromsted out a lap down, as he hasn't actually started the race yet. So Noah Stromsted there in pit road, obviously still hoping to make a start at some point. But we have two retirements after the first lap shenanigans, and they are namely Theo Jensen and Rishan Rajiv, who have had a bit of a coming together, unfortunately. So the contenders now just behind the safety car, just bringing themselves into a position. They obviously have to try and keep the wheels up to temperature, the brakes up to temperature as well. There is Noah Stromsted leaving the pits. Now, it doesn't matter too much that he's a lap down, because if there's going to be more drama in this race, then all it takes is for the competitors to get themselves sorted. You know, he'll catch up to the back of the field, and if there's going to be more incidents and more drama in the races, then obviously he'll be able to make up some places later on, even though he's a lap down. Now, for those of you who were with us at the start of the season, and are probably thinking, well, this is going to take quite a while to clear up, why don't we just red flag it and get the races going on? There are two reasons why this probably isn't being considered at the moment. One of those is that we've obviously had a very long delay to the schedule already, so we obviously need to continue as much green track running as humanly possible. Although, of course, we're under safety car, so that doesn't really countermand that argument. But the other reason is that we've had several races now through the course of F4 UAE Championship, and the stewards have been incredibly forgiving over the first 3 weekends to the drivers to give them as much track time as possible, and as actually stated in driver briefings, you need to calm yourselves down on the opening lap to keep yourselves out of harm's way and to not get into silly incidents. Otherwise, it's your own track time that you're going to risk. And so they've now taken the stance, well, we'll leave the safety car out, we'll let them run around, and obviously if they're going to run into each other, then it's their race that gets demolished by time. So a completely understandable stance and a fairly reasonable standpoint, to be honest. It's unfortunate, but then obviously these guys and girls are obviously learning their trade of racing. Some of them, it's their very first time out of karting. So you've got to give them a little bit of grace. These kids are still between the ages of 15 and 18. So if you think you can do a better job, and I certainly can't, and I'm old enough to be most of these kids' dads. So there they are again. You can see the replay of what happened, but it doesn't change a thing. These kids are still learning, and they are still climbing the ladder of motorsport. Don't be too harsh on them. What we do get to see, though, is some real potential superstars in the future. There are just 37 cars still running in this race, apparently. The 38th of them should be Noah Stromsted, and I'm kind of hoping that he does end up joining up the back of the field, even if it's only a lap down. But the great thing about the hard work here from the Dubai Autodrome crew is that the officials here with the recovery crews are incredibly fast. They've got a lot of experience now, having been holding races here since the middle of the first decade of the 21st century, so they have almost 20 years experience of doing this now. And the teams definitely know how to get this done quickly. You can see already that Theo Jensen's car is already on the back of the low loader, and Rishan Rajiv's isn't going to take long to clear off the circuit either as well. So hopefully we're not going to be behind the safety car much longer. Yes, of course, some of the time has been eaten up a little bit by the safety car period, but that is the nature of motor racing. So great to see some of the comments from some of the people who are watching along on the YouTube stream. Side Draft Media says, Tarpanen doing so well in his first time in a car. That will stick out in my memory. Very well worth remembering. He's just taken 2 pole positions for this weekend. And you've got to remember that this is only his 10th car race. So Tuka Tarpanen straight up to the front, straight up to showing people what he can do. Quite extraordinary, quite astonishing under the circumstances. There's a lot of pressure on these drivers' shoulders, and they are dealing with it very admirably indeed. Always very impressive when these competitors come up to the fast end of the free. So it's definitely going to be very intriguing to see how it all plays out. So as the drivers are warming up the tyres and brakes, just trying to keep the core temperature. They have to do that. They have to sustain the heat in the tyres and brakes, because when you restart the race and you're obviously following the car in front, if you've got cold tyres, if you've got cold brakes and you hit the brake pedal getting into turn one, that car is not going to turn right, it's going to go straight on. You need to balance it, and you need to make sure that you've got a car you can trust heading into turn one. It's even more critical at this level of your career than it is later on, because later on you've got experience to deal with these sort of things, and that is a very disappointed Noah Stromsted, I do believe, now out of the race before it even starts. So very disappointing indeed for him. So a very interesting situation for all of the contenders at the present moment. But Katapanen leads the way from James Wharton. It doesn't look like we're going racing again this time. I think it's going to have to be the time after that. So Tarpanen, Wharton, Lindblad, Al-Azhari and James Bezique. One of the GT tyre technicians there, just watching along from the sidelines. They've been absolutely fantastic over the course of this season in giving all of the drivers a lot of needed data. They've been learning about tyres in a way that they just wouldn't have done in the world of karting. Once you step up to cars, you unlock a whole extra level in terms of the information and the data you're playing with. From a youngster's perspective, it's a bit like going from games on your mobile phone to the high-end PC racing game console. You really do unlock so many more goodies in terms of what you can actually play with. So really exciting battle is in the offing. They're going around for one more lap, and it's going to be two Mumbai Falcons and the high-tech of Arvid Lindblad. Lindblad really keen and really eager to fight for another victory. I spoke to him after the Kuwait Motortown races. He said, I have no idea where our pace has gone. We were fast in Dubai, we were mighty in Dubai. We just had a lot of bad luck there. In Kuwait, we just don't have the speed. I can't wait for Dubai to come around, because then I can try and win again. And he's not far from it at the moment. And while we're commending people, let's commend Keanu Al-Azhari of the Yas Heat Racing Academy. He had a bit of a tricky start because he obviously wanted to try and keep his position as much as possible. Now, this is an interesting tactic now, because into the pits, I think that is Zachary David. Now, this is obviously an interesting tactic that's being deployed here, because they're putting a fresh set of tyres on that particular car. And it is, oh no, it's Jesse Kadashkedo, in fact. It's his teammate. So Jesse Kadashkedo in the other car. They're bringing him into the pits. Now, the reason they're doing that, safety car is coming in this lap. The reason they're bringing Jesse Kadashkedo into the pits on this lap with fresh tyres is that the fastest lap from race 1 determines who starts pole position for race 2. So they clearly feel, well, Jesse has a chance here to set the fastest lap of the race and bag pole position for race 2 tomorrow morning. So that's what Jesse Kadashkedo is there doing. The safety car is coming in this lap. As you can see, the lights are out. And Tuka Tarpanen is backing up the pack. Wharton, Lindblad, Al-Azhari, Bezique and Badua. I was going to say about Keanu Al-Azhari, he had a tricky start. He had one to his left and one to his right. So he stayed calm. He let Badua get up the inside and battle with Bezique. Picked his move back on the inside, and then midway round lap 1, he got himself back into 4th position past Bezique once again. So Al-Azhari just one car away from the podium and looking very strong indeed this time. Commendable work by the Yas Heat Academy, who are obviously putting this government-funded program in for drivers in the UAE licence to go racing at international level by starting here in the United Arab Emirates in F4, having taken those talents from the worlds of esports and karting, and now they have gone for the drop of the hammer. So Tuka Tarpanen picked his moment and went for it. James Wharton, Arvid Lindblad and Keanu Al-Azhari are going to go with him all the way through. So they will continue to battle as they come up the top of the crest, past the Radisson Blue and out the final turn. It's going to be a really interesting run as they come on to the main straight. And we are back to racing mode once again here in Dubai. It's green, 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 and we're racing in the F4 UAE Championship, race 1 of round 4. Tarpinen ahead of Wharton, Lindblad and Al-Azadi down to the first corner. Wharton has a bit of a look. He's not going to go for the move, but here's the move from Brandon Badua. Badua dives in, loses the back end slightly. Oh, he was so close. He almost drifted into the side of James Bezique, and now Will McIntyre will be feeling very optimistic about his chances of getting past the Italian. So McIntyre's making the bid. Meanwhile, Conato Lee's getting hungry behind Valerio Vinicella. The high-tech squad so much stronger here in Dubai. All 4 drivers with an opportunity here to score big points. This is great work for Oliver Oakes and the crew. They've certainly turned the corner. As into the pits comes the 41, that is Fernando Barrichello. They're clearly feeling that he could also go for a fastest lap of the race on fresher tyres. So they're going to try and work on that. Who's that in third? Is that Al-Azari? Is that Al-Azari past Lindblad? It is, you know. Lindblad's having to try and fight back. So Lindblad will now try and get the move back on Al-Azari once again. And he's through. But can Al-Azari hold him at bay? Al-Azari is trying to come back through on the inside, and he's committing. So while Tarpinen wants to video, Lindblad spins and nudges the side of Al-Azari's car. Lindblad spins, he just got caught on the curbs on the far side, and it spat him around. Disastrous for Arvid Lindblad. I really want to see that one again. Chiara Al-Azari has held on to his third position at the moment. Brandon Badua now trying to cut it on the inside of Bezique and McIntyre, and Rinicella's in behind him as well. 3 wide down to the braking zone. Is Brandon Badua going to be able to hold on to this? Very tricky racing so far in F4 UAE, as yet more bad luck befalls Arvid Lindblad. 3 wide in the middle of the gaggle, as the racing continues to be very intense indeed here in Dubai, as it was in round 1. And in round 4, it's no different. If anything, it's become more ferocious. Stay out of the way of that barge board, and I'm afraid one of the drivers has taken up the meter board. That's going to be a messy clean-up job for the marshals later. But Arvid Lindblad has dropped down the order. Now what's happened to Chiara Al-Azadi? Chiara Al-Azadi appears to have fallen away from it now. I can't quite see where Al-Azari's car is. So a big issue there. But Chiara Al-Azari appears to have come into the pits. He appears to have pitted. So that is disastrous for Al-Azari. What was third position is now no longer. Well, devastating misfortune for Chiara Al-Azari. We've got a car slowing further back. Someone's gone off the road there in the first sector. So it's now Tarpinen from Wharton, then Badua, then McIntyre, Bezique, Rinicella and Ugachukwu. Let's look back again. Now that is one of the Rodin Carlins. I think that's Fernando Barrichello going off the road. But Brandon Badua in third position is now trying to shake off Will McIntyre, who's got past James Bezique. Rinicella in 6th, then Ugachukwu, Lee, Lacorte and Zach David. Still they duel for position. Bit of a hustle between the 2XL Motorsport teammates. And it's 3 wide further back. Goodness me, everybody wants a piece of it. That's Bianca Bustamante trying to sort herself out amongst her opponents, and she's held on. Brilliant. Now the XL duo. This is Noah Lyle versus Federico Rifai. Lyle trying to go around the outside. Rifai very comfortable holding the inside line, and they've got pressure from Hamda Al-Kubaisi, who's now trying to make her impression. And behind her is Lena Bula. Now, can Hamda Al-Kubaisi be brave here and go round the outside of the 2XLs, let them squabble away and pick up the pieces? This is very smart from Hamda Al-Kubaisi, just let them squabble. Lena Bula's catching up with them as a result. And then further back, we've got Bidam Bakhti having a bit of a shufti. Bustamante having got past Bidam Bakhti and Akshay Bora, and now beaten Quintarelli, and so many others are in the mix here. Look at the debris that's been left by that marker board. As side by side, that is Quintarelli dueling away there with the PHM of Akshay Bora. They're going wheel to wheel as they go along the straight. 5 minutes 45 on the clock. Great racing. That's what we wanted from F4 UAE. They've tidied it up now. Look at Tarpinen and Wharton. They've disappeared. This is their race to command. So Tarpinen in front of Wharton looking for race win number 2. Further back though, this is Lena Bula trying to make her impression on Hamda Al-Kubaisi. So still they duel away. This is inside the top 20. In fact, 3 of the ladies in this race are all in the top 20. Al-Kubaisi is 15th, Bula is 16th, Bustamante is 17th. The only other lady in the race now is Victoria Blochina, currently in 30th position, having had problems in the last lap. And of course, Emilie de Geus is no longer driving in F4 UAE. She has returned to Europe to begin her program for the summer. Badua in front of McIntyre. McIntyre sensing a chance at a first podium, getting hungry. Here goes McIntyre, commits late, goes for the inside of the hairpin. Badua's not going to give him a lot of space. The McIntyre has to bail out. He's got another chance though. Gets back on the power nice and fast. Draws level. Badua's going to have to protect the inside line, but that's the dirtiest side of the circuit. Watch out behind you, boys. You've got Pazik, Rinicella and Ugachukwu, all part of the battle. And whoops, it's a bit of a mistake there from Nicola Lacorte as he drops back. So McIntyre's really hustling Badua, trying to squeeze through on the inside. The Italian is not giving him any breathing room. So McIntyre decides, right, I'll take you round the outside. He can't get there, so he has to bail out again, but Badua is making that car as wide as a Buick right now. Down to the braking zone for the final turn. Rinicella's not going to wait around. Rinicella makes the bid on Pazik. Valerio Rinicella is the master of the cunning overtake, and he gets through into 5th position, but he's got to leave a little bit of space here for Pazik. Pazik is still going to be level with him as they go down the straight. They've got to be careful, otherwise they'll end up like Megatunif and Bedrin did in Formula Regional a few weeks ago. Watch for the big launch from Ugachukwu. He takes them both. Magic from Ugachukwu. Can he get it turned in? No, he's going to have to run wide. Oh, Ugachukwu. Bold as brass from the American, but that's cost him more than it's gained. Ugachukwu losing a lot of places as a result of being very bold and daring indeed. And I'm afraid that's dropped him behind Hamda Al-Kubaisi, I do believe. So big problems there for Ugachukwu. That's dropped him out of the points. And there's a spin. Now that is one of the Cram competition cars, I do believe. So that looks to me like it might be Flavio Olivieri. And we've got a slowing PHM car. The leaders are going past the lap. So that's Tarpanen and Wharton lapping one of the PHM cars. I think that might be Noah Stromstead, in fact. They've got him out there so that he can try and go for the fastest lap. But a very tricky battle as Lena Buehler mixes it in the mix there. And that's Dion Gouda trying to go wheel to wheel with Ugachukwu and Bustamante, the two Prema teammates. But look, there's a car off the racing line, stage right, as the driver sees it. So still the battle goes on. A little bit further back, this is the duel between McIntyre, Rinicella, Pazik, and what was Ugachukwu. And there we go, yellow flag, safety car, safety car. So now we've got a PHM in between the two leaders and Brando Badua, who somehow has been able to hold on in 3rd position. Now that is Flavio Olivieri, the Italian who has spun it and beached it, unfortunately, just off the exit of the tight hairpin at the end of the back straight. So very unfortunate for Flavio Olivieri, but his very tricky season is already causing a little bit of a headache there. So some really tough situation. And it's obviously, you can really tell, can't you, that the tensions are really starting to build in F4 UAE. Yuga Ugachukwu being as bold as brass up the inside line. I really want to see that again, the way he just decided, you two are scrapping away. I need to get on with this. And it just shows you how daring it is. He's only dropped to 9th position, strangely. And that's somebody's front wing that's parted company. So Yuga Ugachukwu has managed to get back on the road in front of Nicola Lacorte, in fact. So that puts Ugachukwu down to 9th position. I thought it was out of the points, but he's only recovered in 9th. And into the pits comes one of the XL cars. Now that, I'm afraid, is Georgi Żurawski. He's the one who's missing a front wing. So they're going to have to change the nose cone section, which obviously comes complete with a fresh front wing. So the XL Motorsport crew dealing with that as neatly as possible. Try not to crash into the cameraman, but then the cameraman wants to get a piece of the action. There is the missing front wing of the number 33 car of Georgi Żurawski, who will now get back onto the circuit, and again with fresh tyres on. But we've only got 45 seconds to go, so I would suspect a bit of a lackadaisical. At least the XL Motorsport crew can smile about it. I'm afraid that's a very picked nose completely, but we're behind the safety car with 30 seconds to go, and once the time runs down, you only get one additional lap, so I think that could be game over. That could be it. So if you're a Tuka Tarpanen fan, this is great news. If you're a James Wharton fan, This is even better news because he's set to come home in second place with 18 points scored, with Ugachukwu down in 9th, only scoring 2, and that means that the Australian will take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. That is a big, big moment in this pendulum swing of the championship, and that move from Yuga Ugachukwu, I really want to see it again if we can, but that will end up proving very costly as far as the championship battle is concerned. As there is the 19, that's Bianca Bustamante, a little further back from the pack. But I really want to see the incident with Yuga Ugachukwu diving up the inside. It would have been the most sensational overtaking move had he actually finished it and turned it in. The problem is, it was such a last-minute manoeuvre that he was already on the dirty side of the road. He was already committing to the braking zone. He couldn't turn the car through the radius effectively and then had to bail it out, but costing himself positions in the process, and that's cost him championship points too. Now, I don't think we're going to get another racing lap in. So we need to look at who's set the fastest lap of the race, because obviously that's quite an important part of the battle for pole position tomorrow. And with a 2 minutes 2.366 lap time, the man who made the pit stop, Jesse Carrasquedo, has set the fastest lap in this race. He's going to finish 31st, but he's going to be pole in front of the 2 Mumbai Falcon teammates, Tuukka Tarpanen and James Wharton. So that's how important that strategy was. Federico Rifai is going to start high up as well, because he's had a 2 minute 2.419. So he's going to start right up at the sharp end of the field tomorrow. And so is Noah Stromsted, because he's done a 2:02.670. So there are going to be some interesting names towards the sharp end of the field. But importantly, Wharton is still going to be towards the front. And Yuga Ugachukwu, who's had a best lap of a 2 minute 3.3, is actually going to be on the outskirts of the top 10 again. So the safety car completes the lap. We're now on the last lap. And the race is going to finish behind safety car, sadly. But what a turning point this race has actually given us in terms of the championship fight. Because now, Tuukka Tarpanen is going to take his second win. He's going to close right up in terms of the championship fight. And James Wharton is about to take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. They're trying to get Flavio Olivieri's car started again so that he can at least finish the race under his own steam. But it's too late because we've run out of time. So if it finishes like this, James Wharton, who came into this race with an 11-point deficit, is going to finish race 1 5 points ahead of Yuga Ugachukwu in the Drivers' Championship by my mathematics, which could well be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. But based on the fact that Ugachukwu is set to score 2 points and then pull away to 13, but then Wharton is going to score 18 for finishing second place. Wharton's going to lead the championship by 5 points if it stays like this. So all of a sudden, in just a handful of laps, the championship has completely changed hands. And I'm sure James Wharton in second place will be delighted, as into the pits has come one of the RSGP cars has come into the pits. Is that Carrasquedo again? Yes, it is. So Carrasquedo has come back into the pits again. So he's clearly decided, well, I can't finish in a decent position. I've certainly qualified in a decent position for race 2, though. He's put himself provisional pole position for that. But this man, Tuukka Tarpanen, in his 10th car race, is about to take his second win in the championship. Before the season, only those hardcore fans in the know really knew who Tuukka Tarpanen was and what potential he might have. But you've got to go out on the circuit and do your homework. You've got to do the data. You've got to work with the engineers, figure out where your deficiencies lie, make the gains, make the progress. That's all Tuukka Tarpanen has been doing since the start of this season. And I think he's also, by my math, going to get ahead of Rinicella in the championship standings as well. The lights go out on the safety car, and Tuukka Tarpanen is going to bring it home in first position. And on his comeback, behind James Wharton, who will take the lead of the championship, Brando Badua is going to get a podium. That is great news for the Italian, who really worked hard to hold on to that third place from McIntyre and Pazik. Rinicella bounced back to P6. That's damage limitation. Ugachukwu, though, only 9th. That is not good news from where he sits. He's going to lose the lead of the championship, which at one point looked pretty dominant. So out of the final turn will come Tuukka Tarpanen, who will lead the entire field around. And they will finish in formation. Mumbai Falcons 1 and 2 once again. But for the second time this season and the first time in Dubai, Tuukka Tarpanen is going to take the checkered flag and the 25 points that go with it. Tuukka Tarpanen, Tuukka the Tiger, wins in Dubai. A 1-2 for the Mumbai Falcons, who will continue to extend their lead in the team standings. And Brandon with a fabulous podium in third position on his return to the F4 UAE Championship. McIntyre and Pazik doing a great job for High Tech. Kanato Lee likewise in 7th behind Valerio Rinicella. Zachary David P8, Yugo Ugachukwu P9, and losing the lead of the Drivers' Championship just at one place ahead of his teammate Nicola Lacorte, who scores the final point. Well, what a tough race battle. Behind the points, you have to look at some standout performers. Pedro Claro staying out of trouble in his first race behind Dion Gauda. Federico Rafai did a great job. 13th place from the young man from the United Arab Emirates. Worked his way forward. Hamda Al-Kubaisi finally looking like she's got that same fire in her belly that she had a year ago when she dominated at Yas Marina in one of the races in the 2022 campaign. Lena Buehler and Bianca Bustamante yet again fired up and making progress. Can we just point out, Bianca Bustamante went up from 29th on the grid to 17th. That is very, very impressive indeed from the young lady from the Philippines, who has signed up to the F1 Academy. And for my money, she's the championship favourite for that at the moment. Jack Beaton, Matteo Quintarelli and Kai Darianani in the top 20. Sebastian Murray made great progress up into 21st position in front of Nandavud Bidon-Bhakti and Luciano Morano. Ismail Ahmed stayed relatively out of trouble. Victoria Blokida in front of Teofil Nal, who I think would have made a little bit more progress than that had he not run out of time to do so. Alex Abkasava, Georgi Janavsky, Alex Boduev and Akshay Bora. Then Rafael Narak and Fernando Barrichello. There were no other finishers. But Jesse Kadashkedo able to get the fastest lap of the race during that race before he parked it. So he will start race 2 tomorrow, provisionally from pole position. But this has changed everything in terms of the championship ramifications. Tuukka Tarpanen bags his second race victory, and a very important one too. That's going to put him on 126 points. Valerio Rinicella is going to have just a couple of points more than that, 127 by my math. So in fact, he's only going to have one more point. But James Wharton, crucially, is about to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, and that is very important. So now the battle is going to be really intriguing as James Wharton takes the lead of the championship and Tuukka Tarpanen gets back into it, for my money. Certainly looking good in the rookie standings. Very unfortunate that we didn't really see what happened in the incident between Lindblad and Al-Azadi. Both drivers could have been on the podium today and both deserve to be. But the Tiger is back in town once again. And in Dubai, he does what he did in Kuwait. Win with a phenomenal composed drive. It's the era of the Tiger. It's the year of the Tiger. Never mind what Chinese New Year says. It's the year of the Tiger. Tuukka Tarpanen is having a great season. His first in Formula 4. A great result for Brandon Badoa. Great to see him come back. And obviously, no doubt, his father Luca, who of course was a great racing driver in Formula 1, will have watched his son with a lot of pride and a lot of pleasure to bag a podium in his first race back. Tuukka Tarpanen is emerging, ladies and gentlemen. This is an absolutely fabulous display from the Finn. He really has earned the plaudits from this one. And what a spectacular showcase. We have a new championship leader, if things stay as they are, James Wharton. But we have a new race winner in Dubai, a second time winning in this season in the F4 UAE Championship, and that is the Finn, Tuukka Tarpanen. What a fabulous performance. Brandon Badoa there for the number 94 car in third position. There is Tuukka, just looks so calm, so composed. James Wharton probably just wanting confirmation. Did I take the lead of the championship just then? By my math, James, you did. but only by 5 points with 5 races to go. It's not done yet. If anything, it just got started. Hopefully we'll have a cleaner race tomorrow with fewer safety cars. But what we do have now is a proper battle. And for my money, there are 4 drivers in it. Because don't count out Tuukka Tarpanen and don't count out Valerio Rinicella either. Great performance from the Finn. He really has deserved this victory. Had to be very composed for both safety car periods. So let's hear from the Tiger himself about how it all happened. Feline Wang has found our race winner for the Mumbai Falcons team, Tuukka Tarpanen, down in pit road here in Dubai.
Hey, Tuukka, brilliant start of the weekend with a pole to win. And are you thinking about the championship now?
No, I'm not thinking about championship. We have we can take a lot of points from this weekend, and also this race, everything was under control, so I didn't need to panic. We have now a good car, and I can do it.
Cool. Congratulations. Yeah. 那刚刚我问到Tuukka呢，他这个第一场比赛的迪拜的第一场比赛就拿到了一个 pole to win 的一个好成绩。他提到他没有什么可担心的，车也非常的棒，然后整个的条件也非常的好。他呢，唯一要做的事情就是好好比赛就好了。Back to you guys.
It's too early for Tuukka Tarpanen to be thinking about the championship, but his fan base around the world have definitely started thinking about it. A great performance from Tuukka Tarpanen here at Dubai Autodrome. He is now just 1 point behind Valerio Rinicella in the title fight, as he and James Wharton have taken massive scalps in the point standings. A fabulous first race here in Dubai, and there are 2 races to come from the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship races tomorrow. But certainly, if you're Tuukka Tarpanen and James Wharton, you've got plenty to be happy about. A great performance here at Dubai. It was always going to be an interesting one from the get-go. Tarpanen getting the perfect start. James Wharton had a fabulous performance there to keep on hold of Brando Badoa. And there was always going to be a tough one from Arvid Lindblad through to the first corner. Chiolo Alizari, watch the patience from the As Heat Racing driver as he just waits for the battle in front of him to unfold. And he manages to get past it fairly quickly. Sadly, it was game over further back in the pack as Rishon Rajiv and Theo Jensen lost out. Safety car came out, and on the restart, Lindblad versus Alizari became the buzzword for third position. As the 2 drivers duelled away, Alizari emerged in front. Badoa made his bid to get through on physique, and it didn't work out. He would try again later, but as Alizari and Lindblad duelled for third position, things were about to get interesting. Lindblad unwilling to yield, Alizari likewise, and unfortunately, as Lindblad drifted onto the curbs, he collided with Alizari's car. A real mistake putting both drivers out of the race, and with more great action in the middle of the pack, it's clear that there's still more to do and more to be said by these youngsters. Bianca Bustamante charging her way through the field to make up places. Her teammate Yuga Chukwu making the bold and brass manoeuvre, unfortunately striking the marker board, and that was enough to drift him off the road. Down to 9th and out of the championship lead. As Rinicella picked up a few points on his rivals, Flavio Olivieri spun it away to bring out the safety car, which is how the race ended. Tuukka Tarpanen, the Tiger, emerging victorious for the second time, and with 25 points is now just 1 off third position, dominating the rookie standings. But in second place, James Wharton now takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Brando Badoa getting a podium on his return, but all the headlines are about Wharton and the Tiger. Tuukka Tarpanen, a race winner again. Here they are, out on the podium. Tuukka Tarpanen heads to the top step of the podium. He will pick up 2 trophies on the top step. Not only will he take the victory for winning the race outright, he will also take the trophy for winning in the rookies class. An amazing performance and a great job. Well done to Brando Badoa, third position on his return. He missed all 6 races in Kuwait, didn't even get on the plane, and still fast. James Wharton, that second place means one thing and one thing alone. You're leading the championship now, mate. And Tuukka Tarpanen will take 2 more trophies back with him to Finland once his United Arab Emirates journey is done, for the win overall and the win in the rookie ranks. But Tuukka Tarpanen is writing a legacy. This is only the first chapter And who knows, it could go all the way to the streets of Monaco, the Circuit de la Save, or maybe even the Brickyard. Who knows where these drivers are going to race one day in the future. Certainly right here and now, you'll need to remember where you were in a fabulous battle here at Dubai Autodrome. The fourth round, the first race, puts Wharton on top for the first time in this championship campaign. And now that he's there, he will not want to lose it. So as James Wharton celebrates taking the lead in the championship, we will celebrate with him in style. The F4 UAE Championship is 1 race down and 2 to go here in round 4 at Dubai. Tomorrow, we will have more great race action from this fabulous circuit. I'm Jake Sanson, thanks for being with us. Race 2 is just around the bend.